What is going on, guys? How are you all doing today? Rangovidsmango12 and we are back with the next volume to Ultimate Spider-Man. So this is issue 28, and for you guys that are reading this series in volumes, this is volume 5, and we're going to be seeing Rhino make an appearance in this issue, very similar to the Ultimate Spider-Man game Rhino appearance, but with a few differences. But other than that, guys, I hope you enjoy this issue, so let's get into reviewing it, so let's go. So we jump on right into the issue and we go actually to the library of Midtown High where Peter is studying, and Mary Jane comes running in telling Peter about this crazy villain running around the city, and Mary Jane asks Peter whether he's got his costume with him, and of course that's a yes. And that is when we get this awesome shot, this awesome panel of Rhino launching this car towards the police officers, and it looks absolutely incredible. Just the humongous scale of Rhino compared to everybody else. He's literally a giant in the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, and it is awesome. And of course, as you'll see, this is very similar to how the Ultimate Spider-Man video game actually portrayed Rhino. They've shown that scene in the Ultimate Spider-Man game in motion, and that just makes it even more insane. Now we also get to see that now Mary Jane is actually in a relationship with Peter Parker. Well, she has been for quite a while actually, but you can see the worry on her face when she sees this Rhino, and she actually worries for Peter Parker because obviously, how is he going to take down something like that? And I love just how different this issue is. Like, this issue has Peter run into many obstacles, not the usual obstacles. It's more like him trying to get out of his school without getting caught. Like, he's got to go and fight this giant Rhino person, and the entire issue just focuses around Peter trying to get out of school. But on the way out of his school, he runs into all these problems. Like right now, he's just on his way out of school when Aunt May turns up for a teacher-parent meeting or something like that. In the UK, we call it Parents' Evening, but here it's called teacher-parent meeting, so that must be a US thing. But as you can probably tell, Peter is not overly ecstatic to be seeing Aunt May. He's kind of just like, Aunt May, what are you doing here? Please go away. And he's kind of just like sitting through this, trying to think about what's probably going on outside of the school, outside of this conversation, because as you can probably see, he doesn't exactly look like he's listening, and the teacher and Aunt May know that. And you can also see that the teacher is talking about Peter's grades, and he's talking about how he can probably get into any college he wants once he's left school. And that is what I was talking about in the early issues of Ultimate Spider-Man, where Peter becoming Spider-Man actually ruins his grades a little bit. He starts not going to school. He still knows all of like the knowledge, he still learns everything, but he doesn't tend to be in school as much, and of course that kind of affects his grades and his relationships with his teachers and stuff like that. Now, as you can see, Aunt May and the teacher have let him go because he's made up some crazy story about a foreign exchange student, and they just let him go straight away, which I thought was awesome. Now, as Peter is going out, the principal actually walks in, and Peter has to run off, and he actually runs off into the school kitchen. And of course, right there we can see Rhino still on the TV, still causing havoc, still causing chaos in the streets. And again, Peter is running into all of these crazy events on his way out of the school, and just as he's about to go out of the school, he sees Gwen Stacy sat in the dumpster crying because she believes that her mother is splitting up with her father and is going to leave her and her father for good. Basically, her mum's just going to leave and not come back, and all this crazy stuff that's going on. And basically, Gwen Stacy's life in the Ultimate Universe is so freaking hard work. Of course, the Gwen Stacy that you see in the recent Miles Morales comics is obviously the same Gwen Stacy, but she's a little bit more grown up because obviously it's further down the timeline after Peter Parker's death, and she's already been through all this stuff. And I think it's really interesting that you don't actually see her character in the Miles Morales comics as much. You don't really get to see what she's already been through to get to that stage, but it really is emotional, just the whole story around Gwen Stacy, what she's got to go through, what actually happens to her later in the Ultimate Spider-Man comics. Around issue 60 or 70, I think it happens, so keep your eye out for that. Now, as you can see on screen, Peter is still trying to get out of the school, still trying to run to jump into his Spider-Man suit and get on over there to that Rhino havoc, but on his way out, he actually gets hit by a football, and I absolutely love this part of the comic. Again, Ultimate Spider-Man bringing the humor straight to your face, and it is just awesome. Peter just turns around and launches the football over the school, and of course, mix throwing a football with Peter Parker's super strength, that ball is never going to be seen again, and these guys know it. And Peter just stands there like, oh crap, and he just turns around and sprints off and runs around the corner. And of course, because he's Spider-Man, he's climbed up the wall, he's gotten out of there, and these guys are just left stood there like, where did Peter just go? What the heck? So after all of this hassle, after spending almost an hour trying to get out of his school, he ran into Aunt May, he ran into his teacher, he ran into the principal, then he ran into Gwen Stacy, and then he ran into the football team. He's finally got into his Spidey costume. Of course, he's still got to travel there, he's still got to swing there, and by the time he gets there, it's pretty much all over. Everything has been demolished, everything's been destroyed. But not only that, the villain Rhino has also been caught. The Avengers have well, in the Ultimate Universe, the Avengers are actually called the Ultimates. So eventually, the Ultimates actually had to step in and take care of this Rhino nonsense. And Spider-Man gets there, of course, too late. And this civilian on the ground is just complaining to Spider-Man like, where the hell were you? What have you been doing? Where were you when the city was being demolished by this huge Rhino guy? And of course, that is the end of the issue. And it did say that next issue is called Impostor. And that is actually one of my favorite issues because, well, someone actually impersonates Spider-Man. Like, a criminal actually puts on a Spider-Man costume, goes around robbing banks and stuff like that. And I just love that storyline, especially because that actually happened with Mysterio in the original 90s Spider-Man cartoon. Now, of course, in the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, Mysterio has nothing to do with this Spider-Man criminal guy, but I just thought that was an awesome mention because that's what it reminds me of. So guys, what did you think of this issue? Let me know in the comments section below. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10. Actually, I'll be generous and give it a 9 out of 10 because, well, it was different to see. It was mainly Peter Parker trying to get out of the school. All of these collisions that he came running into when he was trying to get out of the school. And what you've got to remember is that there is a villain destroying the entire city whilst he's trying to deal with his teacher and his school principal and his Aunt May walking into the school. And he's basically just normal things that stopped him because of his Peter Parker alter ego. So I thought that was awesome to see, just a different side to the whole thing being Spider-Man. So guys, what did you think? Let me know in the comment section below. Go to the links in the descriptions, follow me on Twitter and Facebook to hear when these videos are going to be uploaded, and of course to get all the latest comic book news. Also guys, if you want, follow me on Instagram by going to the links in the description as well to see what I'm doing in my free time when I'm not making these videos. And of course, for more, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I will see you all in my next video.